with that. It's going to be Cruel, and it's going to be Cap.
But at least they do have that Catherine now for that extra appeal. That might work out very well for them. And it just depends on how much of a presence can Catherine do in that early game. And by this, I mean like Sui Generis will have to do a lot of quick lane rotations, coming up and putting out as much harass onto Araki on that Ringo as possible.
And I do think Catherine is a nice pick here, able to give so much to your team. Very easy to land stun, great AoE silence. And you know, when you have, I mean, essentially they've let them take Glaive right now. They let Sirius take Glaive. Catherine deals with Glaive pretty decently, right?
Yeah, but the thing is, like last game, there was a couple items that, you know, Rek didn't grab until the 17-minute mark, and this didn't help them out too much. Especially grabbing a Crucible for that double stun coming out of their team will be very big, especially coming into this game where Ringo would be your main damage dealer, but he is very vulnerable.
Right.
Most likely, the Gangstars team will be going double weapon.
All right. Well, we'll see. We'll see if they can get these item progressions in time. If Kinetic win this game, they're taking first place, and this series is over. If Sirius win this, we're going to Game 5 blind pick, guys. We've loaded into the game, so let's jump right into the Halcyon Fold, and for potentially the last time, we throw it over to Shinyi and Forecourt Jester.
Oh, I see what you did there, Humanist. Yeah. Didn't like being called out, huh? Well, Game 4 says otherwise.
Yes, and it's looking awfully familiar as both of the teams are sticking to the same carries as they were before. The only exception that we're seeing is Sui Generis on a Catherine this time instead of the Finn. I do feel like he is a bit more comfortable on the Catherine rather than the Finn, so I feel like this could maybe go a little bit better for them this time.
He did really good work with that Catherine, and but wasn't that, it was the Catherine Adagio. It almost feels like, you know, there's a pool of 7 to 8 heroes that these guys kind of do like to play around with, and we're just rolling a dice and just shuffling them back and forth. But Sui Generis, you know, he did really well with the Catherine from what I can recall. They might even get a first blood here with T-Tigers rotating down, but Araki's coming down here as well, and perhaps we need to stop talking about Sui because he is really, really low on the hit point.
I don't know if we're going to find the kill on him. He's right at the back there, and Rekt didn't quite manage to pick up the kill there. So interestingly, that Fuji did not actually, when they were first kind of aggressing onto Gabe Bizzle there and Sui Generis, they didn't actually go to the shot, but now they have picked up the weapon blade. This is certainly not a time for Kinetic to be looking for any fights right now.
Nope. This early on, yeah, especially with that kind of health, yeah, Sui, you are just on the razor's edge right now. But, you know, Gabe Bizzle on this role, it has been something that we've seen before, and we know by now that Cole can really do some really good solo farm. So if we can get that stun, that might actually be it for Araki. Oh, but instead it's going to be Catherine going down.
It was a very bold and risky move that Sui Generis took. That did not pay off, thinking that T-Tigers had enough damage to pick up the kill there on Rakizor, but just left him vulnerable to that turret aggro. At best, it was going to be a 1-for-1 trade, but it was not. You know, that was a kind of, I feel like that was a wasted opportunity. Well, I just feel like he kind of threw that a little bit.
Oh, Araki's very happy, of course, to pick up the 1-0, and a little bit of cash now advantage going their way, but he is still fairly vulnerable, and well, here comes Rekt and Fuji. Perhaps, well, to the rescue is probably the wrong word here, but they're definitely going to be putting up some pressure. Araki's over, yeah, they're looking for T-Tigers. That is going to be a heck of an afterburn, and Araki, come on with the stutter. He is going to go 2-0, but we do actually lose out the fortress, and Araki is actually in the danger zone here.
Oh, he's just going to make it away by the skin of his teeth there, and just that was a very nice afterburn starting off the Fuji there. That kind of started at the engage. He managed to land on the T-Tigers, who was able to get away there, but Arakizora with long range was able to pick up the kill. So that's kind of the fights they're looking for. T-Tigers probably shouldn't have stayed for that long and just going to pull back a little bit more. And he did have the Spitfire available for him at the time, so probably just settle for poking long range. So that was certainly very good for Gangstars.
Well, Kinetic is just happy to do a little bit of counter jungling here as well. Araki might not, yeah, he really needs to go do a little bit of shopping. Look at what Gangstars is doing again, though. Double weapon. Both Araki and Fuji have those double weapons.
Well, I think that's giving Kinetic time to just collect their thoughts and just kind of work out what they could have done better. And I think I'm just a big advocate of just prioritizing early defense, especially when you're playing against double comps like this, especially when it's double weapon. You can negate a lot of the damage very early on by picking up a lot of early armor.
Yeah, but I don't think we've actually had double weapon lose yet.
That's true. They almost lost that last game.
Almost is not quite a loss. Look at Fuji. He's just going to have to retreat out of this one. We do got a flare up, so Gabe Bizzle and Sui Generis, they might be able to press the point a little bit, but yeah, we're just a little bit too mobile. Rekt, of course, is not going to be one to go down anytime soon. Fuji, you got that afterburn. 1 second. Yeah, he might actually have to use it right here. Nope. Stun and fire and ooh, the jukes. Yeah,
Oh, not quite. Not quite. Yeah, but so I think the Kinetic they're a little bit more control of this game. Right? Well, of that fight now, they're able to pick up the backs as a result of that team fight. So Fuji trying to kind of just punt T-Tigers away, but it just wasn't enough. T-Tigers had the Spitfire there sitting there ready to be used on him. So it's looking pretty even so far, and like last time, we do have Kinetic on very late game comps. So they should be kind of waiting a little bit into the late game there to take advantage of that. But of course, we do see Gangster Series being very, very aggressive.
Tigers. Yeah, Tigers. No, as soon as that Achilles heel hit, like Iraqi just turned around, was like, wait a second, and just turned right back. It just took the little dragon down. 3-2 for the kills, and about 300 gold or so. Iraqi Zoro got to be very happy with his laning so far. 45 to the 43, and 3 and Zip. He actually has every single last hit.
He's doing really well, and Rakizar is just so good on that Ringo. It's actually kind of terrifying to see him on again, and we are seeing a little bit of jungle action right now.
And that's a Hellfire. Yeah, Gabe Bizzle had no idea that was coming down. That level 6 is going to pay off well for another kill going over to the Gangstars crew. But Sweet Generous is here, Raki and crew. I mean, I'm pretty sure you need to leave. Fuji definitely really needs to leave at this point. But how much farm can they steal? 1, 2? I think they're actually get all 3.
Oh, that Spitfire miss, and T-Tigers is going to be caught out.
T-Tigers, all right, finally, they will actually get an answer. Sweet J, however, is done. Gabe Bizzle, I don't think can actually stick to Iraqi right here. Well, Gabe is out of town there as well. Unbeatable, 6 kills. Yeah, you can say 5-0 and 1 for Iraqi.
Yeah, and we just saw there when Gabe Bizzle tried to stick onto Rakizar, he just didn't have the stickiness that he needed. I think he does need to get a little bit of an early Shiver Steal just to help with that. And whenever Crow does get a Shiver Steal, it's a little bit of a kind of moment where you just don't really want to be looking for a fight with a Krill.
Well, we do got that level 6 from Gabe Bizzle here this round as well. So perhaps that will make the difference because, I mean, the only reason that Kroll was a no factor in the last fight is because we had the Hellfire Brew from like across 2 sets of walls. Quite the range if you think about it. So he had no idea what was happening. He did not expect to get jumped. He didn't expect the vision to be in that bush there either. So kudos right there to Gangstars. Now up 6-3, a little bit over 1,000 gold, and double weapon, man. This could be the new meta future.
Yeah, it's looking really good. So I think people tried double weapon out in the past and past few updates. It didn't work out so well, but obviously it's going really well. People are a bit sick of the double crystal that we've been seeing so much of.
We did see some double crystal. We've seen some wins and some losses, but man, like that's the past. Just like Human has said, we got to be moving forward with everything. And Gangstars are moving forward with perhaps another gold mine. They are going to get it noticed. Sweet J is going to be right there. T-Tigers coming down, and Gabe Bizzle. Are we going to be looking for that Hell's Heart? It is actually just going to go over to Fuji, who again immediately just gets out of dodge with that afterburn. They are going to leave Rex to the gods, but still, I mean, they got themselves that payout, and that it was the goal.
They also did get they also did lose Wreck though, which wasn't the best, and we're gonna have to see Iraqi Zoro teleport home there. So T-Tigers, that was quite good, and I think they're really looking for the steal there. Tried to put the goop down under, just kind of missed the mark there. I think they're trying to more intent on picking up the kill there rather than the gold mine.
But Fuji at the same time, he's going to do some counter jungling, at least as much as he can. Minion Mine will go over to Gabe Bizzle though. So that's going to have to be something that we have to address a little bit later on. Now Fuji's just going to take the other Minion Mine, and that's going to be a dead T-Tigers.
Yeah, Iraqi Zoro is just so good at bullying T-Tigers out. He uses his twirling server and just has like immense DPS coming out of him that T-Tigers just really can't combat. And we just saw their T-Tigers just giving up and be like, I'm just going to try and get my minions instead.
Like, Broken Myth is a great item, don't get me wrong, but the upfront damage of a Sorrow Blade and the Twirling Silver from Iraqi Zoro, it's definitely going to be going into the Ringo favor, especially if you can keep getting off these Achilles shots. So, in terms of everything else, 7-4 for the kills and 2,000 gold. Gangstars still pretty much in control of this one, and that's the second Sorrow Blade there as Fuji picks his up at the 8-minute mark.
That's going to be terrifying there for Kinetic. This is a power spec that they don't want to be seeing, as we can see from Sweet Generous there, taking a lot of damage.
Not just blindly jump Iraqi Zoro. It is something you just cannot do. So Rex is here for the babysit, the bodyguard, whatever you want to prefer at this point. Here comes Fuji, but they're not really going to find an angle. They need to find it on top of T-Tigers, or, well, I'd even say, like, you can probably even do it on Gabe at this point, but Rex is just going to be the guy going forward. There's the silence. Here comes the breath, and Fuji is just going to drop.
Raxor is just gonna get away there, but Sweet Generous is not. So we saw Gabe Bizzle using his Shiver Steel to great effects onto Fuji, so that gave him the stickiness that he needed, that he just didn't have earlier. Sweet Generous doing quite well with low health from the start of the fight. Didn't get a chance to use the fountain though. I think maybe just kind of used it a bit selfishly to save himself. They could have maybe picked up another kill there onto Iraqi or even wrecked.
Well, that's something that they're gonna have to think about in the future, though. Fuji just absolutely melted. Like, that silence, by the time that silence was done, he was able to immediately afterburn. But, I mean, the damage was done. That was it. T-Tiger, as I said, Broken Myth is a really good item, but the upfront damage of Iraqi versus that, I mean, they definitely have their uses when it comes to team fights.
So, yeah, definitely. And Fuji and Irakizora, none of them do have that reflex block yet, so they can't really block any future blast tremors. But the cooldown on blast tremor is so long, they know they're going to be safe for a good minute or so after using it.
Yeah, it's, what, 110, 120 second cooldown. It's pretty up there. The immense gold payout is going to go their way, though, and we did pick up a bone saw, because Araki Zoro is just absolutely flying through the farm. 701 and 97 last hits. T-Tigers just not really going to be able to compare to that level of farm yet.
He's doing quite well on farm. He's 84 to Irakizoro's 99. He's doing all right, you know, despite the harass that we've been seeing Irakizora just pour onto him. But this is looking like a bit of a dangerous situation for Kinetic right now.
You can see Fuji, he really wants that angle on top of T-Tigers, but oh, that sword is just gonna come up empty. Fuji with that afterburn, saving his life, and Irakizora just able to take a step back and defeat that engage. Gabe Bizzle now is, I mean, he might be level 10, but that's a very dead Catherine. They're gonna go right past this turret. They're even gonna take it down. Wrecked, however, is gonna get turned right about on top of it. That I just don't see him getting out of this. Now Wrecked is gonna run for his life, and Gabe just has nowhere to go.
Yeah, there really wasn't much they could do in that team fight, so they saw that Catherine was looking very low, knew they could take her down very fast, and they also saw T-Tigers sitting there with very low energy, knew he can offer much in the team fights, and just really went for it. Took down the turret, got two kills there on Sweet Generous and Gabe Bizzle as well, so that was really nice kind of recognition there coming out from them.
Fuji and Wrecked able to go through a whole lot of counter jungling. We do got a Crucible now here from Wrecked. We'll have to see if his timing's going to be on point for those blocks on the Blast Tremor.
Yeah, so I don't think he had it for that fight, so that was a bit
he just
unfortunate.
picked it up now.
He just okay, didn't really notice that one. So next team fight is going to be looking a lot more dangerous for Gangstars Sirius, but we do see Rec just getting that Crucible there, so that's going to be really important for them trying to block that Crucible, and T-Tigers is just not in this fight right now.
And Gabe Bizzle's not going to beat it either. He just absolutely got murdered. Fuji is doing so much damage. He's setting up here for Iraqi. Iraqi picks up his 10th kill of the game, 10-0 and 2. This Ringo is really starting to make waves, and T-Tigers, like, with that 3-man, he has nowhere to go. The gold mine, unfortunately, has nowhere to go here either, as the damage is starting to become catastrophic. Do we have any hope of getting enough armor to deal with this level of double weapon?
I think so, because this is quite similar to the last game where we saw Gangstar Sirius just kind of take a very early turret on. They were able to, consistently win the team fights, but then we did see Kinetic kind of turn it around in the mid-late game, but it just wasn't quite enough. And I think, both of them have learned from their mistakes, so it's going to be a bit of a tougher match in that way. But Sweet Generous on that Catherine, a comfort pick for him. This once he is able to overdrive the blast tremor, we're going to be seeing a lot more of that, and especially if he gets some cooldown items, which I really can anticipate him getting. This is going to be a very, very close fight.
We have 11-10-8 compared to that of 12-11-9. The level game is really favoring Gangstars, and you said, once you can get that overdrive on the blast tremor, that is 4 levels away. Like, that is not going to be anytime soon for Sweet Generous.
Yeah, this really isn't. So they're gonna, I think Gangstar Series is gonna really have to focus their play on knowing when Sweet Generous has it up or not, and the same for Kinetic as well. When they know that he has it available to him, this is a really good time to engage. That's the time.
And T-Tigers is done. I mean, you could throw out the Hell's Heart from Gabe Fizzle, but I mean, it tickled at this point, and this is just an absolute gank squad. Like, we are just going around executing Kinetic. That turret does not exist anymore. Gabe was already throwing out that stun, and there's nothing to chain here. Like, we still have Blast Tremor. T-Tigers did not exist in that fight. There's just way too much to block, and if they can continue on with the 2v3 mentality, Gangstars is just going to easily bring this to a game 5.
Yeah, that would be so exciting actually, and I'd love to see Gabe Vizsla playing that dash again. But they're really they're playing this really cleverly. They're diving for T Tigers, who has no armor, who's very squishy, and they're taking him down very, very fast. Gabe Vizsla, who's building for a bone saw, is doing damage, but it's just not quite enough to combat the DPS that's coming out from Fuji and Iraqi Zoro there.
So perhaps, what, 117, a big nerf to double weapon?
Potentially, it's really working out really well for Iraqi and Fuji here. It's clearly a winning formula that they've clocked onto.
Well, there's the blast tremor. Rex is now going to be in that front line. He's going to be taking a lot of those Spitfires. We did have Gabe Vizsla get into that back, but there's not a kill yet, and Gabe Vizsla is actually just going to melt. Rex is still going to stand alive as long as he can, and it's going to be enough for a 3-1 turnaround. Iraqi and Fuji heals up to full. They make it look easy. That little corridor was probably, in hindsight, just the worst place they could have gone. There was nowhere to go for Fuji and his ridiculous amount of AoE, and at the same time, Iraqi, they all funneled in right to him.
Yeah, and that we saw T Tigers channeling his Dragon's Breath, and then that afterburn out from Fuji just stunning him out of it. That was game changing for them. You know, that we could have seen a comeback coming out from Kinetic if he had managed to land it on all 3 members of Sirius, but that afterburn really saved their lives there.
Fuji is scaring me. I mean, that he just destroyed that minion mine, and that minion, like, one hit, one kill. Like, that's the new Fuji way. So 16 kills to 6, almost 10,000 gold between these guys. Kraken has made herself available to any team that wishes to try to tango with her, and at this point, I mean, if we just have one more fight, I think Gangstars just have it in the bag.
Well, it's not a good fight for them because we do see Iraqi Zoro with the 2 infusions, and T Tiger's infusion is about to run out. Gabe is the only one that's looking in a good position to fight there, so this is not going to be good for Kinetic.
Oh man, Rex, he saw it coming. He's like, not again. He just stutter stepped. There is no stun. Gabe Vizsla does not get the health heart. He's going to be done on the floor. Catherine is already done, and T Tigers with that impressive burning. It's just not near impressive enough. That is a 3-0 turnaround. I think Gangstars is just going to go for the kill right here.
There's absolutely insane coming out from Gangstars. Sirius are playing so well right now. They've really turned it around from the first 2 games that we saw from this series already. So this is just really impressive. I can't believe we're going to a 5th game for the NA finals.
Well, EU, 5 games. Good job. NA, not to be outdone. We're going to go to a blind pick game 5. And I mean, what happened to the momentum? Kinetic, game 1, stomping, game 2. Huge plays, and now they're falling short, and now they are brought back to a match point. This is it. One more game, and somebody goes home in the #1 seed.
Yeah, absolutely. Incredible plays coming out from both teams. Gangstar Sirius really had control of the early game. They really took advantage of that before we could see Kinetic building any armor. And if we do look at the inventories from all of them, they'd be